standing by in Ottawa with more on the story here and what happens now with the officers involved in that arrest, Michel.
Well, Todd, I can tell you that the investigation by the Alberta police watchdog, ACERT, will be continuing. And so far, they are not commenting. And really, nobody's commenting on the behavior and actions of the police officers who were involved in that incident involving Chief Adam back in March. Of course, that video sparking outrage, shock, and also provoking a parliamentary committee to begin looking into systemic racism in the RCMP. I want to share with you a statement that we did get about the charges being dropped for Chief Adams. This is from the Office of the Justice and Solicitor General of Alberta. They say the Crown reassessed the prosecution standard based on the examination of the available evidence, including the disclosure of additional relevant material, and withdrew the 2 charges, resisting arrest and assaulting a police officer against Chief Adam. We also did hear from the RCMP, Todd, and they're saying that really their job is to provide evidence to the Crown. It is up to the Crown to decide whether that evidence is enough. And at this point, resisting arrest and assaulting a police officer, according to the Crown, just didn't stick.
And I should also ask you about the woman who runs the RCMP, Brenda Lucki, who spoke to a Commons committee about systemic racism in the Mounties as well. Michel, you've got some new information to share with us. What's the political reaction to her comments?
Well, the government's still standing behind Commissioner Lucki. But first, before we get into that, I do want you to see what Commissioner Lucki said yesterday to this Commons committee when she was asked to give an example about systemic racism in the Mounties. Take a look.
The average person can broad jump their height. So, of course, how many 6-foot people do we hire? And there are people in all different cultures that may not be 6 feet, including there's not a lot of women that are 6 feet tall that would not be able to get through that type of test.
So that would be systemic discrimination, but I'm trying to think of systemic racism.
In our we have some questions, for example, in our aptitude test, and you know what? I might refer Gail, because that is Gail's specialty in the HR world.
Gail, the head of the RCMP Human Resources Department, did answer that question, said, listen, people in the north, they don't have access to the aptitude tests like they do in major cities. They made changes there. So that is one example of systemic racism, but a lot of questions. Why couldn't Brenda Lucki answer that? And what I'm hearing on the inside, some people in those very, very high positions, including ministers, they have a circle of people. And sometimes, the voices of others get in their heads. But ultimately, it is the top chief who wears the mud. In this case, I can tell you that we did get a statement from Bill Blair's office that reads that they still do have confidence in Brenda Lucki. They say that they are committed to fighting racism in the Mounties. And they also do want to bring meaningful change to policing services. But you know what, Todd, any day where you have the Prime Minister, the Public Safety Minister coming out publicly and needing to say that they still have confidence in you, it's not a great place to be in.
Absolutely not. CTV's Michel Boyer with the latest charges dropped against First Nations Chief Allan Adam in Alberta. Thank you for this, Michel. Good to see you.